Have you ever sat down at the dinner table, looked at that piece of fish on your plate, and wondered, is this actually good for me? You're not alone. Fish has always had this golden reputation. We're told it's healthy, it's light, it's full of nutrients. But the truth is, not all fish are created equal. In fact, some of them, even the ones that show up often at the grocery store, can quietly harm your body over time, especially if you are over 60 years old. Hi there. I'm so glad you're here with me today. If you care about your health, if you want to protect your heart, your memory, your bones, and if you want to keep feeling good as the years go by, then this video might just be one of the most important ones you watch this year. Today, I'm going to share with you 5 types of fish that you should absolutely avoid eating, and 5 others that you really should be including in your weekly meals. These are not random guesses. This comes from years of research, real stories, and genuine concern for people like you. Older adults who want to live well, live strong, and stay independent as long as possible. So before you take another bite of that healthy fish, let's take a closer look. Some of what I'm about to share might surprise you. And I promise, by the end of this video, you'll feel more confident and informed about what you put on your plate. Let's get into it. Top 5 fish you should never eat. Number 1, farm-raised tilapia. If you have ever picked up a bag of frozen tilapia from the grocery store, thinking you are making a smart, healthy choice, I completely understand. Tilapia is inexpensive, it is mild in flavor, and it is marketed as a lean source of protein. But what many people do not realize, especially older adults trying to eat better, is that most of the tilapia in stores today is farm-raised overseas. And that comes with a lot of hidden risks. Over 95% of tilapia in the United States is imported from countries like China or Indonesia, where safety regulations are not as strict as they are here. In those massive fish farms, tilapia are raised in crowded tanks or dirty ponds. The fish are often fed an unnatural, heavily processed diet, usually made of soy, cornmeal, and sometimes even animal byproducts like chicken waste. Yes, really. Not only does this affect the fish's quality, it completely changes the nutritional makeup. Instead of having healthy omega-3 fatty acids that help reduce inflammation, farm-raised tilapia is known to have a much higher ratio of omega-6 fatty acids. That may not sound bad at first, but too much omega-6 without enough omega-3 to balance it can actually increase inflammation in your body. For older adults dealing with joint pain, heart problems, or memory issues, this kind of internal inflammation is something you want to avoid at all costs. There is also concern about contaminants. In some farms, tilapia are exposed to antibiotics and chemicals just to survive the poor conditions. Over time, those substances can build up in the fish's body and eventually pass on to you. If you are eating tilapia regularly, thinking you are doing something good for your body, you may actually be doing more harm than good. So what should you do instead? Later in this video, I will share a few healthier fish that are just as easy to cook and are far better for your body, especially if you are over 60 and focused on protecting your health for the long run. Number 2, Atlantic farm salmon. Let me start by saying this. Salmon, in its purest form, is one of the healthiest foods you can eat. It is rich in omega-3 fatty acids, high in protein, and deeply nourishing for your brain, heart, and joints. But here is where things get tricky. Not all salmon is created equal. And if you are eating farmed Atlantic salmon, especially the kind sold cheap in supermarkets or served in many restaurants, you may not be getting the health benefits you think you are. Farmed Atlantic salmon are raised in large, densely packed enclosures, often in ocean net pens where tens of thousands of fish are confined together. These conditions lead to high stress, rapid disease spread, and the need for constant medical treatment. To keep the fish alive, Farmers use antibiotics, pesticides, and even synthetic coloring to make the pale flesh of the farm salmon look more pink, like the wild kind. Now, here's the concern. Those chemicals and antibiotics do not just disappear. Traces remain in the fish. Over time, when you eat this kind of salmon regularly, those residues can build up in your own body. For older adults with slower metabolism or weakened immune systems, that buildup may affect hormone balance, digestive health, and even increase the risk of cancer. But perhaps even more worrying is the presence of PCBs, polychlorinated biphenyls. These are industrial chemicals that have been linked to cancer and neurological problems. Farmed salmon has been shown to contain significantly higher levels of PCBs compared to wild salmon. And once PCBs enter your body, they stay there for a long time. That is not something you want circulating in your system as you age. So what can you do? Look for salmon labeled wild caught, preferably from Alaska. These fish live in clean, natural environments and feed on what nature intended, not processed pellets. You will pay a bit more, yes, but when it comes to your long-term health, it is an investment worth making. Number 3, king mackerel. Mackerel is one of those fish that shows up on a lot of healthy eating lists. And in many cases, that is true. But there is a big difference between the type of mackerel you eat. And if you are eating king mackerel, especially on a regular basis, I want you to pause and listen closely, because this could have serious implications for your health, particularly as you grow older. King mackerel is a large, fast-swimming fish found in the Gulf of Mexico and along the southeastern United States. Because it is near the top of the ocean's food chain, it lives longer and eats smaller fish. And that means it also absorbs more mercury from the environment than most other fish. Mercury is a toxic heavy metal that does not belong in the human body, and certainly not in the brain, heart, or kidneys of someone over 60. Here is why this matters. Over time, mercury builds up in your system and can lead to serious neurological problems. That includes memory loss, slower thinking, balance issues, and even tremors. For seniors who are already dealing with age-related changes in the brain, mercury exposure is especially dangerous. And here's the thing. You might not feel it right away, but months or years of eating mercury-rich fish like king mackerel can quietly cause long-term harm. Even more concerning, the Food and Drug Administration has placed king mackerel on its do not eat list for children, pregnant women, and older adults. Yet many people still buy it, sometimes unknowingly, at seafood counters or in restaurants. So what should you do instead? Not all mackerel is bad. Atlantic mackerel, for example, is much smaller and lower in mercury, yet still rich in the healthy fats that your brain and heart need. When choosing seafood, the size of the fish and how high it sits on the food chain can tell you a lot about how safe it is to eat. Number 4, imported catfish. Catfish is a comfort food for many Americans, especially in the South, where fried catfish dinners are a cherished tradition. It is familiar, affordable, and easy to cook. But as with many foods we grew up trusting, the story has changed over time. And if you are buying catfish without checking the label, chances are you are getting an imported product. And that is where the health risks begin. A large portion of catfish sold in the United States is imported from countries like Vietnam and China. Now, that might not seem like a big deal at first, but here is what most people do not know. In many of these countries, the fish farming industry is not as tightly regulated as it is in the United States. These farms often raise catfish in murky, overcrowded ponds where water quality is poor and disease spreads quickly. To manage that, some farms use antibiotics and chemicals that are banned for use in American food production. That means when you eat imported catfish, you could be consuming trace amounts of those substances. Over time, exposure to these chemicals has been linked to problems with liver function, hormone imbalance, and weakened immune response, especially in older adults whose bodies may not filter out toxins as efficiently as they once did. And here is another thing. Imported catfish is often mislabeled. Sometimes it is sold under different names like basa or swai to make it sound more appealing. But these are still catfish-like species raised under questionable conditions, and the risks are the same. If you love catfish, and I do not blame you, the good news is you do not have to give it up entirely. Just make sure you are buying U.S. farm-raised or wild-caught catfish, preferably with the label clearly stating the origin. American farms follow stricter safety and environmental standards, meaning the fish is cleaner, safer, and more nutritious. As we get older, we have to be more selective about what we put in our bodies, not just for taste or tradition, but for long-term well-being. And catfish, when sourced wisely, can still be part of a healthy lifestyle. Number 5, swordfish. Swordfish, just the name alone sounds strong, elegant, even a little exotic. It is a popular choice in fine restaurants and seafood markets because of its meaty texture and bold flavor. But behind its impressive reputation lies a serious health concern, especially for older adults. Mercury. And lots of it. Swordfish is a large predatory fish that lives for many years and eats smaller fish throughout its life. That may not sound alarming at first, but there is a catch, literally. Every time a swordfish eats another fish, it absorbs the mercury that fish had in its body. Over the years, mercury accumulates in the swordfish's tissues at dangerously high levels. By the time it reaches your dinner plate, that fish is carrying a load of mercury that can quietly harm your nervous system and brain. This is especially dangerous for seniors, whose bodies are more sensitive to toxins and whose brains are more vulnerable to damage. Long-term mercury exposure has been linked to memory loss, confusion, anxiety, and even tremors. You may not notice the effects right away, but over time, mercury can build up and cause real, lasting changes in how you think, move, and feel. In fact, the Food and Drug Administration and the Environmental Protection Agency both strongly advise that older adults, pregnant women, and young children avoid swordfish altogether. But unfortunately, many people still see it as a healthy, upscale seafood option, not realizing the risks it brings. Now, if you enjoy that firm, steak-like texture of swordfish, you do not have to give up on seafood entirely. There are better choices, much better ones, that are lower in mercury and packed with nutrients that truly support healthy aging. I will share some of those coming up in the next section. Our goal as we grow older is not just to live longer, but to stay sharp, mobile, and full of life. And that starts with small, smart decisions about what we eat. Avoiding swordfish is one of those decisions that can make a real difference. Now that we have talked about the 5 fish you should avoid, not because they taste bad, but because they simply are not safe for long-term health, let's shift gears. Because here is the good news. Not all fish are bad. In fact, some are absolutely packed with nutrients that support heart health, brain clarity, strong bones, and even better mood. So stay with me, because up next, I will reveal the 5 types of fish you should absolutely be eating, especially if you are over 60. Number 1, wild-caught Alaskan salmon. If there is one fish I recommend over and over again for older adults, it is wild-caught Alaskan salmon. It is one of the richest natural sources of omega-3 fatty acids, the kind of fat your body needs to fight inflammation, protect the brain, and keep your heart beating strong. Unlike farm-raised salmon, which can be contaminated with chemicals and raised in crowded conditions, wild Alaskan salmon live in clean, cold waters and feed on a natural diet. That means the fish you are eating is as close to nature as it gets, full of powerful nutrients without the baggage of antibiotics or artificial coloring. So, why is this fish so important for people over 60? Let me break it down. First, The omega-3s in wild salmon help lower triglycerides and reduce the risk of heart disease, the number one health concern for most older adults. They also help reduce joint inflammation, which can ease stiffness and arthritis pain. And perhaps most importantly, omega-3s play a key role in supporting memory, focus, and mood. Studies have shown that seniors who eat fish like wild salmon regularly have slower cognitive decline and even lower risk of developing dementia. But that is not all. Salmon is also high in vitamin D, which supports bone strength, and selenium, which supports immune function. Every bite is like a natural multivitamin wrapped in delicious, flaky flavor. When you are shopping, look for salmon that says wild caught and Alaskan. Sockeye, coho, and chinook are all great choices. Yes, it might cost a little more, but think of it as investing in your energy, your memory, and your independence. After all, staying healthy is not just about adding years to your life. It is about adding life to your years. Number 2, sardines. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Sardines? Really? Yes, really. These tiny little fish might not look like much, but they are one of the most nutrient-dense foods on the planet. And for older adults, sardines offer an incredible combination of health benefits that are hard to beat. First of all, sardines are naturally rich in omega-3 fatty acids, the kind that protect your heart, reduce inflammation, and support clear thinking. But what makes them especially powerful is that, unlike larger fish, sardines are low on the food chain. That means they do not live long enough or eat enough other fish to accumulate mercury or other toxins. In fact, they are considered one of the safest fish to eat, even multiple times a week. But omega-3s are just the beginning. Sardines are also an excellent source of vitamin B12, which helps keep your nerves and brain functioning properly. Low B12 levels are surprisingly common in older adults and can lead to fatigue, confusion, and even mood changes. Just a single serving of sardines can give you more than your entire day's worth of B12, naturally. Now here is something that surprises a lot of people. Sardines are also high in calcium. That is because they are usually eaten with the bones still inside, which are soft and completely safe to eat. For older adults concerned about bone strength, osteoporosis, or recovering from fractures, sardines are a great non-dairy source of this essential mineral. On top of that, sardines contain vitamin D, phosphorus, selenium, and protein, all of which support a healthy, aging body. And the best part, they are shelf-stable, affordable, and easy to prepare. You can add them to salads, spread them on crackers, mix them into pasta, or even enjoy them straight from the can with a squeeze of lemon. I will be honest, the idea of eating sardines can take some getting used to, but once you give them a real chance, your body will thank you. They are small, but they pack a powerful punch, especially for your brain, your bones, and your heart. Number 3, rainbow trout. If you are looking for a delicious fish that is gentle on the stomach, rich in nutrients, and raised responsibly, rainbow trout should be high on your list. Especially for older adults, this fish offers a perfect balance of health benefits without the risks that come with many other types of seafood. Rainbow trout is often farmed in the United States, and unlike many other farm-raised fish, trout farming here is generally well regulated. The water is clean, the feed is monitored, and the result is a fish that is not only safe to eat, but also packed with goodness. In fact, rainbow trout is considered one of the best choices by the Environmental Defense Fund for both health and sustainability. Now, let us talk about the benefits, because there are many. Rainbow trout is loaded with omega-3 fatty acids, just like salmon, which help reduce inflammation and support heart and brain health. For seniors, that is critical. Inflammation is behind so many chronic conditions, from arthritis to cognitive decline. Trout helps fight that quietly and powerfully. It is also high in high-quality protein, which supports muscle maintenance. As we age, muscle mass naturally decreases, which can affect balance, mobility, and independence. Getting enough protein, especially from clean sources like trout, is key to staying strong and active. Another benefit? Rainbow trout is a good source of potassium, which helps control blood pressure. It is also rich in vitamin B6, niacin, and phosphorus, all of which support energy, nerve function, and bone strength. And thanks to its mild flavor, it is very easy to cook, whether you bake it, pan-sear it, or enjoy it grilled with herbs and lemon. So if you want a fish that supports healthy aging, tastes great, and is easy on your digestive system, rainbow trout might be the perfect catch. It is a gentle, healing food that fits beautifully into a balanced diet for older adults. Number 4, Atlantic mackerel, not king mackerel. Now, earlier, we talked about king mackerel and why it is best to avoid it due to high mercury levels. But not all mackerel are created equal. And Atlantic mackerel, the smaller cousin, is a completely different story. Atlantic mackerel is a small, oily fish that is incredibly rich in omega-3 fatty acids, even more than salmon in some cases. But unlike its larger relatives, it is very low in mercury, making it a safe and powerful food for older adults. This is the kind of fish that fuels the body in a deep, restorative way, giving you not just energy, but clarity, focus, and strength. What makes Atlantic mackerel so valuable is its role in supporting heart and brain health. The omega-3s in mackerel help reduce triglycerides, lower blood pressure, and improve circulation, all of which protect the heart. They also support memory, mental sharpness, and mood, which becomes more important than ever after 60. It is also rich in vitamin D, which is essential for bone strength and immune function. A surprising number of older adults are low in vitamin D, especially in colder months or for those who spend less time in the sun. Including mackerel in your meals just once or twice a week can make a noticeable difference in how you feel. Atlantic mackerel is also an excellent source of protein, selenium, and vitamin B12. And because they are small, short-lived fish, they are less likely to contain harmful pollutants. You can find them fresh, smoked, or canned, and they are especially delicious with mustard, lemon, or even just a touch of olive oil. If you are looking for a heart-smart, brain-boosting fish that will not break the bank, Atlantic mackerel is a wise and worthy choice. Number 5, herring. Last on our list, but absolutely not least, is herring. Another small, oily fish that has quietly earned a reputation as a true superfood, especially for aging bodies. Herring has been a staple in traditional European diets for centuries, and for good reason. It is loaded with omega-3 fatty acids, vitamin D, and vitamin B12, making it a triple threat when it comes to supporting heart, bone, and brain health. For older adults, herring offers something particularly special: long-term nourishment that works beneath the surface. Omega-3s support healthy joints and reduce inflammation, making everyday movements more comfortable. Vitamin D helps protect against osteoporosis and supports immune strength, two areas that become more vulnerable with age. And B12 supports nerve function and cognitive clarity, helping to maintain independence and mental sharpness. What sets herring apart is how gentle it is on the system. It is easy to digest, and because it is a small fish, it is low in mercury and other toxins. You can enjoy it pickled, smoked, grilled, or pan-fried, and it pairs wonderfully with simple sides like boiled potatoes, rye bread, or fresh greens. Herring is also rich in coenzyme Q10, a compound that supports energy production in cells and plays a role in heart health. As we age, our natural CoQ10 levels decline, so getting it from food is one more way to fuel your vitality from the inside out. If you have never tried herring before, this might be the time to give it a chance. It is flavorful, deeply nourishing, and one of the most affordable ways to care for your body with food. Sometimes the best medicine does not come in a bottle, it comes from the sea. Now, if you have stayed with me all the way to this point, I want to take a moment to say thank you. Truly, you care about your health. You care about the choices you make. And that tells me something powerful about you. You are not just trying to get by. You are trying to live well. We have talked about 5 types of fish you should avoid, not out of fear, but out of wisdom. And we have shared 5 wonderful, nourishing fish that can become your allies in this next chapter of life. None of this is about perfection. It is about progress. One better choice, one better meal, one better decision at a time. Because growing older does not mean fading away. It means becoming more tuned in to your body, your mind, and what truly matters. And the food you eat, it is not just fuel. It is a message you send to every cell in your body. I still care. I still have dreams. I still want to feel strong, clear, and fully alive. I have spoken with so many people in their 60s, 70s, even 80s, folks who used to believe it was too late to change. But after just a few small shifts, they began to feel better, sleep deeper, move easier. They found themselves thinking more clearly, laughing more, wanting to do things again. That is what I want for you. Not just more years, but more life in your years. So here is what I invite you to do next. Go check your freezer, your fridge, your pantry. See what kind of fish you have stocked. And the next time you shop, choose something that will not just fill you up, but lift you up. And if you found this video helpful, please consider sharing it with someone you love, a spouse, a friend, a neighbor, because this isn't just about information. It is about connection. And we are stronger, healthier, and happier when we walk this path together. Until next time, take good care of yourself. You are worth it. You are needed. And your best days, they might just be ahead.